The phenomenon is known as a blood moon. Depending on the observation point, the moon can take on a reddish color because of the blocking of sunlight. The show in the sky could be seen across almost the entire American continent.
Red, my brother. Everything in Jerusalem is turning red. What is no one telling you, and what does it mean? Join me for another analysis, and I'll tell you everything.
Let's learn what a lunar eclipse is, shall we? The sun, planet Earth, and here's the moon orbiting around it. Depending on the alignment of these three bodies, Earth can move in front of the sun and cast a shadow on the moon. This right here is a lunar eclipse. You can see the edge of planet Earth being projected onto the moon. One thing that makes this phenomenon so beautiful is that as the moon passes behind Earth, sunlight passing through our planet's atmosphere turns red like a sunset and projects that onto the moon. It's incredibly beautiful.
I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I'll just remind you that on March 3rd, 2026, the sky over Jerusalem will change color. The moon will enter Earth's shadow and be stained blood red. It's the third consecutive blood moon to fall exactly on Purim, the festival celebrating Israel's salvation from Persia. NASA has confirmed it, and this phenomenon is actually going to happen. Do you think this is the only red thing in Jerusalem? If you think that, you are mistaken. While the world looks to the sky inside Israel, something is being prepared almost in secret. I'm talking about the red heifers being raised on a farm in Shiloh, priests trained in rituals that haven't been practiced for 2,000 years. Over 70 sacred vessels reconstructed, priestly garments sewn with gold threads, detailed architectural plans for a building that officially doesn't exist. And in 2025, a historic record was broken. Over 76,000 Jews ascended the Temple Mount, a 31% increase from the previous year. 7 times more than 10 years ago. Something is accelerating, and the Israeli government isn't talking about it publicly. Think with me, child of the Most High God, the sky turned red, right? The heifer is red, and the blood of the sacrifices is also red. Israel can only be preparing for something that will change the world. And the heavens are confirming this, or am I the only one who noticed this detail? Stay with this video because now I'm going to connect science, prophecy, and facts happening right now in 2026. I've divided this video into stages, and with each stage, the subject gets more interesting. Stage 1. The red sky. What has NASA confirmed? Let's start with what everyone can see, the sky. On March 3rd, 2026, the full moon will plunge completely into the Earth's shadow for 58 minutes. When this happens, sunlight is filtered through the Earth's atmosphere and only red wavelengths reach the lunar surface. The result is a moon that appears to be covered in blood. NASA has published all the data. The moon will be in the constellation of Leo, the biblical symbol of the tribe of Judah. About 2.5 billion people will be able to observe the phenomenon. Here is a detail that cannot go unnoticed.
We had astrological signs before, 2014 and 15, 4 blood moons, a rare phenomenon, a blood moon tetrad in a row, right?
Wow.
2 in 2014.
It's rare, right?
This phenomenon is extremely rare. 2 in 2014, and they coincided with Jewish holidays, important Jewish holidays, right? Like tabernacles and so on. So, I mean, if you look at it from a statistical standpoint, that's just crazy, you know, right? And the Bible talks about blood moons too and all that.
What makes this eclipse different from all the others is precisely the calendar. It happens on the same day as the festival of Purim, the 14th day of Adar on the Hebrew calendar. And it's not the first time this is happening, my friend. In 2024, a lunar eclipse coincided with Purim. In March of 2025, there was another one too. And now, in 2026, we thought it would be different, but it also happened on Purim. 3 blood moons on Purim in 3 consecutive years. This has never happened before. So the question that remains is, why did it happen now? And after these years happen, the sequence will be broken. There won't be another total lunar eclipse until December 31st, 2028. Yes, almost 3 years without a blood moon. So the red sky is just the first sign, because while the moon turns red up there, something red is being prepared down here. Step 2, the red heifer, the great and terrible, the secret of Shiloh. This detail many people didn't want to share, nor did the newspapers report it. Only a few YouTube channels spread this important news, which happened in September 2022, when 5 red heifers were transported from a farm in Texas, United States to Israel. They were transported on a chartered flight, which cost more than $700,000. That's right, you heard it correctly. It cost more than $700,000. Israel's Ministry of Agriculture acted quickly and bypassed all normal import protocols to facilitate it. So they classified the animals as pets to speed up their entry. The operation was funded by Byron Stinson, a Christian Texan businessman, through the Boneh Israel organization. And the selection of the animals was supervised by rabbis from the Temple Institute in Jerusalem, led for over 37 years by Rabbi Yisrael Ariel. You might have wondered, but why does Israel want red heifers? It's a common question that most people have. The answer is in the Bible in Numbers chapter 19. The Torah commands that a perfectly red heifer, without any blemish, that has never carried a yoke, be burned outside the camp. Its ashes must be mixed with spring water and used for ritual purification. Without this purification, no one can serve in the temple, no priest can work, and no sacrifice can be offered. Therefore, no worship service can take place. The red heifer is the starting point for the reconstruction of the third temple. Jewish tradition records that only 9 red heifers have been sacrificed in all of Israel's history, from Moses' tabernacle to the destruction of the second temple in 70 AD. Tradition also says that the 10th heifer will be prepared in the era of the Messiah. Now this is where the story gets complex. In March 2025, the Temple Institute announced that the 5 heifers imported from Texas were no longer qualified for the ritual. They had developed non-red hairs, which disqualified them according to rabbinic law. Many thought the project had failed, but on July 1, 2025, something unexpected happened. A practice ceremony with a heifer being burned was held on a remote hill in northern Israel in the Samaria region. A Cohen priest participated. The rituals followed biblical specifications. Byron Stinson released videos, and the Temple Institute confirmed that the disqualified heifers would be placed in a breeding program to preserve the genetic material, which was 99% pure. In February 2026, Charisma magazine reported that Israel's heritage minister, Amichai Eliyahu, personally visited the red heifers being raised in Shiloh, a government minister visiting a ritual purification project. This is happening, and no one in the international news is talking about it. Step 3. The temple that doesn't exist but is already ready. Officially, there is no plan to build the third temple in Jerusalem. The Temple Mount is under the administration of the Islamic Waqf, and the Dome of the Rock occupies the site where the first and second temples stood. Any attempt at construction would trigger an international crisis, but in the alleys of Jerusalem's Old City, in the Jewish Quarter, the Temple Institute is in operation. And what they have been doing over the last nearly 4 decades is extraordinary. They looked to the Bible and replicated more than 90 sacred ritual objects, and they did it exactly as the Bible required. They made the golden menorah with 7 branches, crafted according to the specifications of Exodus chapter 25. Do you know how long it took to be built? It took more than 10 years to be built and is on public display in the Old City. Do you know the high priest's breastplate? That beautiful vest with the 12 precious stones representing the 12 tribes of Israel. It is also already complete. The high priest's golden crown, the tzitz, was completed in 2007. They have even finished the table of the showbread. The altar of incense made of wood and overlaid with pure gold is now complete. The silver trumpets for the assembly are already set. The 10-stringed lyres for the Levite choir are ready. The copper, gold, and silver vessels for the sacrifices, everything is now ready. It's not over yet. They need men from the lineage of Aaron to take over the work, and believe it or not, over 300 men have been tested and approved as descendants of Aaron. They traced their lineage back to the priestly line of Aaron through DNA testing, and now they are being trained to take over the duties very soon. The Nezer HaKodesh, which is the Institute of Priestly Studies, teaches sacrifice procedures, ritual purification methods, precise ceremonial execution, temple music, and the correct use of priestly garments. To be a part of it is not that simple. The candidate must be certified as a descendant of the priestly class. And that's not all. They must have been born and raised in Israel and have observed the laws of purity required of the priests. The priestly garments have been sewn, the architectural blueprints have been drawn, and 3-dimensional animations of the third temple have been created with truly impressive detail. The Kohanim have already performed an authentic rehearsal of the Korban Pesach, the Passover offering, for the first time in 2,000 years. The Temple Mount faithful, led by the late Gershon Solomon, prepared 6-ton cornerstones, cut with diamonds and consecrated with water from the pool of Siloam. Chaim Richman of the Temple Institute publicly declared, "We have enough prepared now to resume divine service and build the temple." A spokesperson for the movement said it seems clear that one day, sooner than we imagine, sacrifices will take place on the Temple Mount itself, and no one will think it's an extremist event. In fact, anyone who reads the Bible knows that this is our ongoing history. Everything is ready. The vessels, the garments, the priests, the plants, the cornerstones. The only missing piece is the building itself, and the only barrier is political, not religious. Step 4, the Temple Mount, the silent change. While the world was distracted by the war in Gaza, negotiations with Iran, and political crises, something extraordinary happened on the Temple Mount, something almost no one noticed. In 2025, 76,448 Jews ascended the Temple Mount. This is an absolute record in all of Israel's modern history. It's a 31% increase compared to 2024. And to put it in perspective, in 2015, only 10,700 Jews made this ascent. In 10 years, the number has increased more than 7-fold. But the number isn't the most revealing part, it's who is ascending. National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir ascended the Temple Mount on Tisha B'Av, dancing, singing, and praying. This is something that had never happened before. An Israeli government minister, openly celebrating at Judaism's holiest site on the day marking the destruction of the 2 previous temples. Israeli analysts describe this as a change in the status quo of the Temple Mount, which has been accelerating in recent months. What was unthinkable a decade ago, what was considered extremist provocation, is becoming normalized. Former United States Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth is publicly vocal in his support for the re-establishment of the Jewish temple. His appointment placed an outspoken advocate for rebuilding the temple in a position of unprecedented influence. Prime Minister Netanyahu and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich represent the most pro-temple coalition in Israel's history. The Jerusalem police and the City Hall now treat temple ritual rehearsals as acceptable public events. The Israeli media has begun covering temple preparation activities not as the madness of a radical fringe, but as an important aspect of Jewish culture. What was impossible is becoming inevitable, and it's all happening in silence while the world looks the other way. Step 5. Hamas knew about the existence of the red heifer and October 7th. Here is a fact that should have been a headline in every newspaper in the world, but was conveniently ignored. When Hamas launched the brutal attack on October 7, 2023, killing 1,200 people and kidnapping 250, a leader of the terrorist group gave a speech listing the reasons for the attack. And among those reasons, he very specifically mentioned that Israelis had brought 5 cows to the Holy Land, 5 red cows. Think about that for a moment. A terrorist organization is monitoring biblical prophecy. Hamas called the attack the Al-Aqsa flood because it understood that the red heifers represented an existential threat to Islamic control of the Temple Mount. They knew the heifers were the prerequisite for ritual purification, they knew purification was the prerequisite for temple service, and they knew temple service meant Israel was moving toward reconstruction. The terrorists are following biblical prophecy, and many Christians don't even know this is happening. Producer Joshua Swanson of a documentary about the red heifer titled Holy Cow said, in Revelation chapter 11, it speaks about the return of sacrifices. This red heifer ceremony is both for purification of the flesh and a sin offering, and it prepares the way for these types of sacrificial events. What's at stake isn't just religion, it's geopolitics, it's prophecy, it's the future of the Middle East, and it all revolves around one color, red. Step 6. The color of God, red in biblical prophecy. Now I want to show you something that, if you analyze it carefully, you'll see connects with the prophecies of the Bible. The color red is no accident in the biblical narrative. It's like a guide that runs through all of Scripture from Genesis to Revelation. Check it out with me. The first man is Adam. That name is derived from the Hebrew word Adamah, which means red earth. This means that humanity was formed from red clay. Remember Esau, Jacob's brother? The promise was to pass through him because he was born red, but he sold his birthright for a red stew. His other name was Edom, which means red, and Edom became the biblical symbol of the nations that oppose and make war against Israel. Remember Egypt? The blood of the lambs in the first Passover was smeared on the doorposts, and it was red. This marked the difference between life and death. The scarlet cord that Rahab hung from the window in Jericho in Joshua chapter 2 was red and saved her family from destruction. Now let's turn to the book of Isaiah. There in Isaiah chapter 1 verse 18 it says, "Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow." This means that the red of sin is transformed by divine forgiveness. And in the New Testament we have the blood of Jesus, which was shed at Calvary, and it is described as the blood that cleanses from all sin. And yes, it is red, always red. And now that we are closer to the end, the moon will also turn red as blood, directly fulfilling the prophecy of Joel chapter 2, verse 31. The heifer, which is red, is prepared for the purification of the temple, fulfilling Numbers chapter 19. And the great red dragon of Revelation chapter 12 stands against the woman and her child. Red is throughout the Bible and is the color of redemption and judgment. It is the red of purification and war, of life and also of death. And now in 2026, all expressions of biblical red are being fulfilled in Jerusalem at the same time. Step 7. What is Israel hiding? We've come this far to answer that question, haven't we? The question is this: what is Israel hiding from all of us? I'll answer you now, and I hope you understand. You see, Israel is not hiding it intentionally. Israel is fulfilling prophecy, it's just that. But the world is not paying any attention to it. And when you don't pay attention, everything seems like it's being done in secret, but it's not quite like that. And you know what? The prophet Daniel predicted that the third temple would exist in the last days. It's in the Bible. There in Daniel chapter 9 verse 27, he describes a period when the daily sacrifice will be stopped in the temple. Do you know what that means? That before being stopped, the sacrifice will have been restored. And here is the important detail. To be restored, first the temple needs to be rebuilt, because without a temple they cannot perform the sacrifice. And for the temple to exist, first you need the heifers, because it's the heifers that perform the purification, and the heifer must be red. And that is exactly what is being prepared. And our Master also prophesied about the third temple. It's there in Matthew chapter 24 in verse 15. He said, "When you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand." Jesus is talking about a future temple, a holy place that will be profaned. To be profaned, it must first be built and consecrated. And it doesn't stop there, for the Apostle Paul in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verses 3 and 4 describes the man of sin who will sit as God in the temple of God, wanting to appear as God. And here we see once again a temple that is in the future. The Bible is never wrong. The third temple will be built, yes, of that you can be sure. And it seems it's closer than we think. Observe this with me. The vessels are ready, the priests are trained, and the garments are sewn. Even the blueprints are drawn. And believe it, the genetic material for the red heifers is being preserved. The Jewish presence on the Temple Mount breaks records every year. Political support within the Israeli government is getting stronger and stronger, and the heavens are giving signs at every moment that something big is going to happen very soon. So I would say this with all certainty: Israel is not hiding anything. Israel is preparing. Did you know that? And the red skies over Jerusalem are the divine confirmation that the prophecies are getting closer and closer to their fulfillment. Stage 8, 2026, the year of the 4 eclipses and the decision. This is incredible. Check out with me the important details of each eclipse. February, annular solar eclipse, the ring of fire, the sun partially darkened. March, total lunar eclipse on Purim, the third consecutive blood moon on this feast. The moon in the constellation of Leo, the Lion of Judah. August, total solar eclipse, the largest of the 21st century, with more than 6 minutes of totality, darkening the skies over Europe and North Africa. The sun completely blacked out. Still in August, partial lunar eclipse covering 96% of the moon, the sun turned into darkness, the moon into blood, exactly as Joel prophesied. exactly as Peter repeated on the day of Pentecost in Acts chapter 2, exactly as John saw in Revelation chapter 6. And while these signs happen there in the heavens and here on earth, Israel is living the most intense moment of its modern history. Iran is trying to rise again. It's trying to rebuild its nuclear and missile program after the 12-day war. Massive protests happening in all 31 Iranian provinces. Negotiations happening in Oman, in Geneva, to try to avoid a new conflict. Netanyahu threatens military action, and Trump threatens total destruction. The spirit of Haman, the Persian who tried to destroy the Jews, hovers over the region. And in Jerusalem, while the world is distracted by trivialities, preparations for the Third Temple are moving forward. Red on top, red on the bottom.
So, my friend, was it answered? The sky over Jerusalem turned red, and now you know why? So, if we look at all this, it's not just an eclipse, it's a sign programmed since Genesis chapter 1, verse 14, when God created the lights to be signs for appointed times. And the heifer is not just a heifer, it's the key of purification that opens the door of the temple prophesied by Daniel and mentioned by Jesus and described by Paul. And the increases in visitation that you're seeing on the Temple Mount, it's not just an ordinary visitation. This is the fulfillment of the desire of the Jewish people, which has been with them for over 2,000 years, and they never stopped praying for this, that the Holy Temple be rebuilt quickly in our days. So you already know, right? Israel isn't hiding anything. Israel is fulfilling the prophecies, and the heavens are confirming this. So, about the reconstruction of the Third Temple, we can no longer have doubts because the Bible itself has already said so. The crucial question is humanity paying attention? Because when the last blood moon of this sequence fades in the sky of March 2026, the next one will only come almost 3 years later, and a lot can change in that interval. A lot of things can happen. Jesus himself said, when you see all these things, know that it is near at the doors. This is written there in Matthew chapter 24 in verse 33. So he says all these things. He doesn't just say one thing, nor two things, nor three. He says all things, that is, all the signs, both in the sky, the appearances on earth, the wars, the rumors of wars, the convergence of prophecies that seemed impossible to be fulfilled are happening simultaneously. So you see that everything is being fulfilled now. That's why everything is turning red at the same time. If this video helped you better understand the scriptures, subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, share it with someone who needs to watch this video. And if you believe in God's promises, comment down below, I believe in God's promises. May God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye for now.